Hey guys, welcome back to another FPL review for Game Week 10. I will review Game Week 10. So it's been a very interesting game week with lots of differential points like Solanke, Rogers. And let's start with the first fixture, Bournemouth versus City. It's not much of a surprise. Haaland blanked again. Unbelievable price to be blanking, 15.3 now, and he's now only scored one goal in 5 games. Surely he must be a sell pretty soon, right? But I have him, and I haven't gotten rid of him for Salah this game week. I got rid of Palmer instead because the next game week I still kind of want Haaland against Brighton. I feel like Brighton will play a more open game away. That's why I'm keeping Haaland, maybe to captain him. Who knows? He can be a differential captain in next game week, especially after seeing Kevin De Bruyne on City's bench. So that's why I've been keeping Haaland. I've been tempted to get rid of Haaland this game week, but I just thought I still want Haaland against Brighton, while Palmer still has Arsenal the next game week. And quite fortunately for me, and quite unfortunately for other people, Palmer got a knock against Manchester United. So I got a bit lucky there. So yeah, actually Haaland, for Haaland sellers, they kind of got fortunate with the result because his xG for Bournemouth is still decent, not 0.88. So he got 2 chances in a row, one hitting the post and then another one saved by the keeper. So yeah, the sellers are quite lucky here, and I don't really mind having City attacker away because the temptation is the home team like Bournemouth and Brighton. I think they will play a more offensive game, and that could suit Haaland more against the um, uh, compared to against the lower block teams. That's the thinking there. But definitely, uh, if you want to spread the cash around, you should sell Haaland. But one of the reasons why I'm still keeping Haaland because the other 5 million, 5.5 million assets in the game, like Semenyo and Rogers, are still delivering. So I don't really mind having so much cash tied up in Haaland. Okay, enough about Haaland. Definitely, I'm keeping him this game week without any injuries, of course. And then there is Josko Vardio, who scored again, and let's see his stats. Because before the fixture turn, his position has actually changed. He plays more in the midfield, and it's quite visible against Newcastle in game week 6. He roamed into the left channel and he scored from there. And then against Wolves, he scored again, a long range cracker. Against Bournemouth, another header. So this is the interesting thing about Vardio. He has multiple weapons at his disposal to score points. Header, long range shots, good finishing skills too, some dribbling skills. We've seen that against Fulham last season. And he's a key player, a difference maker in the later stages of games. So I like Vardio if you can tolerate City conceding, because at this moment City are very leaky. I mean, yeah, what's your point of view? Are you considering teams who are getting clean sheets but no goal threat, or a defender who has goal threat but doesn't keep clean sheets? For me, I don't really mind having Vario, but if you if you are in line with the thinking that, yeah, you're okay with goal threat, then you might as well go down to someone like Ait Nuri or Kadioglu, who basically don't have any clean sheet chances in most games, but has significant goal threat. That's the thinking. And right now in midfield, you have so many brilliant assets. It's very difficult to punt on more expensive defenders. That's the thinking. But if you can go there, why not Vardio? And then there is the Rico Lewis getting benched before the game. Guardiola hype him up that he couldn't arrest Rico Lewis, and then he arrested Rico Lewis. So no surprise there. I had Rico Lewis, and yeah, 4.7. I could take it. And then the main talking point is Semenyo, who's been very frustrating on my bench. I benched him for the last two games. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, he doesn't haul against Arsenal, but he hauls against Man City. So, yeah, against the bigger sides, he's actually looked very dangerous. I mean, playing at home, he looks invigorated, very motivated, and against higher lines, he's dangerous. And against Man City, he's got 0.55 xg, total involvement 0.7 xgi. So pretty decent against Man City, and he looks really sharp. Against Arsenal, he looked very sharp. He had some goal threat there, and then against Man City, that's why you shouldn't bench Semenyo at home, because he's a superstar at home. That's why I'm keeping him at least until game week 12, where he will play Brighton at home. That's the note that I'm thinking, is Semenyo is a beast at home. That's why I'm keeping him as one of the midfield budget options alongside Rodgers. That's all for Bournemouth versus City. Let's move on to Liverpool versus Brighton and Hove Albion. Let's start with Brighton. They look amazing. In the first half, they dominated Liverpool. Liverpool just couldn't control the game. That's the worrying thing about Liverpool. They are not as exciting as Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, because their mindset changes from chaotic playing style to very controlled, like Guardiola. They're okay to give the ball to the opposition. And against Brighton, Brighton dominated the first half especially. And from this domination, Fedi Kadioglu, who played as the right winger, he scored. And I've been keeping tabs on Kadioglu because he's been starting for Brighton. Let's see his minutes. From game week 8, 90, 71, 86, and he's got 666 incredible points. And I will get him if I have the transfer from game week 13 onwards, because this guy plays as the right-sided midfielder, and he scored a few goals already for Brighton, and he looks so skillful. He looks like a Trent, with the socks down type of player. He can pull the strings with his passes, deep lying passes. He looks like a special player, and many people have been hyping him up even before his arrival at Brighton. So there is not much surprise there. And I'm just slightly worried about Brighton's rotation, because across the years, Brighton's manager always rotate. So Kadioglu, he doesn't strike me as someone who will nail down that spot permanently. That's the only worrying thing. Of course, with the caveat that he will play well in almost every game, then he will not be rested. But there is always that worry, because Brighton have so many good players. So that is one defender that we should be monitoring. And then there is Welbeck, who scored again against Liverpool. You know, Brighton, you just couldn't count them out against any team. Against the big sides, they can live with them. They will create chances. They sometimes dominate these big teams. They're incredible. Away, home, just incredible. So I don't really mind having Welbeck even in this game week because we know City can concede goals and Welbeck could be involved again this game week. Against Liverpool, look at that. Look at that run of form. From game week 5, 1 goal. Game week 7, 1 goal, 1 goal, 1 goal again. So in 6 games, he's got 4 goals and 1 assist. Definitely a man in form. I'm not sure why so many people overlook him. Maybe because of the fixtures, understandably. But soon he will be a player that I'm watching, especially from game week 13 onwards, because Brighton will create chances for him. And then there is also Joao Pedro, who's back in training, apparently. So he could be another option that we should look at. But maybe now, because of the fixtures, yeah, we could wait 1 or 2 more game weeks. But I think for the cheap options for forwards, Welbeck should be right up there with Cunha and Chris Wood. And he could be actually better than these 2 players because he's playing up front for one of the most fearsome attacks. And then for Liverpool, obviously Salah scored. And I captained Salah. And I was frustrated for the first half. Like, I kept thinking, why did I captain Salah? On paper, it looks like the best captaincy option. But from the first half alone, why did I captain someone against Brighton? Because my thinking is always about Chelsea bullying Brighton a few game weeks before. And I thought Salah could do the same. But actually, this is the thing about Brighton. They are tough defensively against teams who cannot get the ball off them. Because they will dominate, and without the ball, the team couldn't hurt Brighton, right? So that's the thing about Liverpool. They couldn't hurt Brighton because the ball is on Brighton's side. But for Chelsea, they could control the midfield because they've got a better midfield apparently than Liverpool for me right now. Like Caicedo, that's why they could control, they could get the ball, and then they could launch a counter-attack. That's why Palmer gets 4 goals in that match. So for me, this is my opinion about Brighton. They are tough defensively for those who cannot control the midfield. But against teams that can do that can bully them, that can somehow disrupt them tactically like Enzo Maresca did, they could score a lot of goals because Brighton just couldn't handle not having the ball while at the same time playing a high line. That's the crazy thing. So that is the difference between Liverpool and Chelsea and why Salah couldn't haul like Palmer did. And then on the left wing, there is Cody Gakpo, who's been very impressive in these last few games. Gakpo, he scored against Brighton in the Carabao Cup. Magnificent goal. That is just pure eye test goal that this man is running on confidence. And it's paid off because he starts against Brighton again in the league. And he just got another goal. It was a cross that doesn't get converted by Haaland, but it's still a goal. It will add to his tally and it will add to his confidence. So Gakpo is one to monitor, obviously with the caveat that Luis Diaz is always a threat on the bench. And then one more person is Tsimikas, who's starting at 4.6. This will be a very interesting option because 4.6, you could downgrade Alexander-Arnold to Tsimikas, who has also set pieces from corners and some free kick duties, I imagine. And then the next one is Spurs versus Villa. Of course, Solanke gets the haul with 16 points, and I'm thinking about captaining him against Ipswich. But he's been doing the same things like the previous game weeks. Like he's been dropping deeper, working hard off the ball, but he gets the goals against Villa. And you know what? Let's look at Solanke's record. I think there is something more than just mere coincidence. When Son goes off, Solanke hauls. Let's see. Solanke scores in which minute? Against Aston Villa. I think there is a correlation there. Yes, Solanke in 75th minute he starts scoring. That's why after Son goes off, Solanke doesn't need to drop deeper as much, because when Son is there, I feel like the main goal threat comes from the wings, Johnson and Son. And Solanke is kind of happy to facilitate that by dropping deeper, but when Son goes off, then he has more freedom, more license to be the goal scorer. That's just my opinion, because not just this game, again in game week 6 and game week 7, where he got some points and he's got good underlying numbers too for Man United especially. Son also goes off, he was injured. So maybe there is some correlation, but we shouldn't bank on that. But there is always that dynamic. When one person goes off, someone can take more responsibilities in a way. And then Johnson also scored, always dangerous off the far post, always looking to threaten that, and Son from the other flank is happy to supply. And I'm happy to own Johnson from this game week, because he's been accumulating XG from that far post. Pedro Porro blanks. You see, Pedro Porro is always good on the eye test, but why doesn't he haul? Well, that's the thing. When he comes up against tougher opposition, Spurs will hold back their horses. And in this instance, then Porro will not go forward as much. And then there is Watkins blank, which I'm happy about because I don't own him. Watkins blanked, but he got one good chance that supplied by Rogers. So is he a sell? It depends, because up next they're playing against Liverpool, who can concede chances. Against Highline, Watkins can stretch their defense. So if you have other priorities, surely Watkins isn't one of them, because after Liverpool he will have better fixtures like Crystal Palace, Brentford and Southampton. I don't think it's worth a transfer, because soon you probably want him back again. See, after Liverpool, Crystal Palace at home, Brentford home, Southampton home, 3 home games in 4 games, quite decent. And then Rogers, who's been the cheaper option for this FPL season, he delivers again from corner duties. He just got lucky, the ball just fell upon him. And then the next game is Man United versus Chelsea. Obviously Palmer, the main guy for Chelsea, he's always there, starting the attacks, launching the counter attacks, because against Manchester United they will have holes in midfield, because Casemiro, he's not the fastest player to mark. So Palmer kind of gets that license to roam around in this game. And then he's also got some corners. One corner got converted into the post by Fofana or someone else. And look at his stats. His stats is, why is it so slow? 0.23, 0.25 against Man United. Quite decent. and quite unfortunately not to get anything. And of course, Bruno Fernandes got the penalty. Maybe this is the dawn of something new. Next 3 games, very good fixtures. For someone who holds Bruno, yeah, you can play him. Garnacho, I think, is the main guy off the left, but that's the thing. His position is not certain. Sometimes he can play on the right, sometimes on the left.